Good afternoon, I'm Kelly McCullum with the North Carolina Channel, and we are here live at the Raleigh Convention Center in the capital city for the Emerging Issues Forum 2016. This year's topic is Futurework, brought to you by North Carolina State University. It is my pleasure to bring to you, North Carolina, this distinguished panel to discuss the future, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Senator Jane Smith, Alexandra Arrington, and Jessica Mitsch. Senator Smith, is the future bright, or are robots just going to take all of our jobs, especially in rural North Carolina?
Well, I think the future in North Carolina will always be bright because hopefully we will be ahead of the curve, understand what's coming. It's one of the reasons I like the Emerging Issues Forum so much, because it brings together all these brilliant minds and creative thinkers who can help us foresee what will be coming in the future, so then we can adapt and make sure our education system is responding to what the new jobs will be.
Alexandra Arrington, you're with Johnson C. Smith. How well positioned are colleges and universities in North Carolina to direct students towards a career that a machine or a piece of software or an app can't replace?
Well, I think universities are well positioned. At Johnson C. Smith University particularly, we are utilizing technology and humans, so thankfully automation is not getting rid of career counselors, but to use both of those and the strengths of those together to be able to steer students appropriately to careers and train them and develop them.
What do you tell, as a career counselors, those out there, what are they telling students who want to attempt to find their way? What can I do the next 4 years of my life to set me up for the next 40? Do you tell them, watch out for automation, it can come get you?
No, we don't scare them away from automation, but again, we try to steer them to be aware of the issues and look at careers and opportunities, again, where the two can be married, especially in their particular pursuits.
Jessica, you're with the Iron Yard. You tell me that you teach people to create the apps that could, are they going to take our jobs, or how do we harness this power of the computer and software?
No, they definitely won't take your jobs. What we're doing at the Iron Yard is we're working to train folks on this future work. So how to become relevant in the technology space, how do you actually become an entrepreneur, how do you actually become a builder of software. And I'm really encouraged by what's going on today at the IEE, the Emerging Issues Forum, because North Carolina is thinking about this, is thinking ahead, and is thinking, what do we do to educate the workforce of the future?
People that come to you, if they don't have their mind right, so to speak, if they don't have the proper perspective, how do you switch them from, I'm supposed to do what I'm told, and I come to work and I clock in and I clock out, but when you program and launch apps and you're a startup, it's project-based?
Absolutely.
How hard is that to switch your mind and go that way?
I think it's really liberating for a lot of people to move into a project-based world where they're actually affecting real change and building something that's real and tangible. And so I think it's a real easy transition for people. It's really quite liberating. It's why people are making that shift.
Senator Smith, where does the state, what is the government's role in telling the people where they should or shouldn't be going? And I know that does rub some folks the wrong way, but it sounds like it could be pretty easy for someone to make the wrong career move and then they wound up at 35 to 45 years old needing to start over.
Right, and I think that's why, as a state, we need to be sure there are plenty of opportunities to retrain people if that in fact happened. We have, as you know, a wonderful community college system, and that has been very instrumental in retraining people that were involved, say, in the textile industry. We know that when it went offshore, and of course now a lot of it's coming back as advanced textiles, but people need to be trained in a different way to work in that industry now than what they did in the past. So we can stay ahead of it. We can still be sure the opportunities are there in the educational system from K through 12 through the community college and the universities all address what is going to be happening in the future.
How do you balance the role between the community college, which when I was a kid was tech school, so you learned a trade, a vocation, versus the university that seems to be more philosophical in nature? I know that's not true, and I could take some heat for saying that, but what's the balance in recreating the workforce from the 2-year degree level, looking also at the 4-year degree level?
Well, I think they are both very important. I think, obviously the community college and the 2-year associate degrees can train you for a job. In fact, it's almost a necessity now to have that past high school. But there's also a place even for the general university. I mean, ultimately, the goal in education should be to teach people how to think and learn, because we can predict all we want to, but we really can't tell exactly what's going to be happening in 20 years. Things are changing so fast. So what we really ultimately need to teach people are how to think and how to learn.
And to add on to that too, I think it's all about retooling, because we've recognized, you think of AOL, and 1989 is when the first "You've Got Mail" message came out, and that's as old as Taylor Swift, right? It's a very young industry. So getting people to retool and continually to be trained on what's coming down the pipeline.
Tell me about preparation at the university level, Alexandra. The students coming into you, do they need this training as freshmen on campus of a university or college, or do we need to look down to 10th, 9th, 8th grade and say, you better get ready here so you can compete in college when you get there?
Well, I definitely think that's one of the important topics that's being covered at this forum, that the earlier the preparation, the better. But we can start with where we are and move forward to better solutions earlier in education systems. I know, for instance, at Johnson C. Smith University, we partner with local charter schools and local high schools to do things like education and training. We also have our college students that go into these schools to do things like internships and kind of give back and kind of create that pipeline as well. So,
how strong is the pipeline, Jessica? A lot of people would love to create apps and to work in the computer industry, but it does take development over a long period of time to be good at it. Is North Carolina strong, or is it just getting started?
I actually think North Carolina is incredibly strong. The Iron Yard has campuses in three cities in North Carolina, in Raleigh, Durham, and Charlotte. And part of that is because our students are able to go in and get jobs quite easily. And you think about the folks that have been speaking today at the forum from both Fidelity Investments, which has a high IT presence here in the Triangle, and that's why they're in North Carolina. To Automated Insights, who we saw spoke earlier. Both companies have hired students out of the Iron Yard, and those students are career changers that have gone through our university system here locally and gained great skills through those programs on how to think, and then they come back years later after they've had a career and say, I want to get caught up on the latest in technology and continue to go into the sector that way.
Senator Smith, you represent real people, I guess robots too, but they don't vote. How do you gauge success of an industry? Because I get the press clippings that say 40 jobs here, 50 jobs here. They could have been 500 jobs without automation. So how do you define success as a legislator when a great company can come to a rural area and not bring that many jobs?
Well, I actually saw this starting a while back, because before I was in the legislature, I chaired the North Carolina Southeast Regional Economic Development Commission for 13 years. So I saw the change from 300 to 400 jobs to 20 to 40 or 50 jobs. It was a difference, but all of those can make a difference, and you can also help them to expand. I represent two very rural counties, Robeson and Columbus counties, and that is an important issue. Technology particularly, we need broadband throughout the entire state. I mean, a lot of our communities do not really have access to internet. We have got to make that happen so that the children that live in those areas have the same opportunities they do in Charlotte and Raleigh and Durham. So I'm also concerned about the rural areas to make sure they are as well equipped as the other areas of the state.
Alexandra, how does that work from a rural student perspective? It's not that they don't know how to use the internet, it's that they can't use broadband internet. They still get that high school diploma and they're ready for higher ed. How do you prepare those students, or at least set them up so they can get through 4 years of school and be as caught up as any kid who went to an urban high school?
Well, a lot of it has to do with kind of, if you will, on-the-job training. They're doing a lot of learning, or promoting a lot of learning in the classrooms to where they can utilize this technology and get used to it, because that's really part of the future, and it's something that they have to get up to speed on very quickly. So there's also supplemental instruction with technology that they may not be as familiar with as well.
Are colleges looking down on students who haven't had access to technology, even though it's no fault of their own? If they apply, if they get on campus, is it?
I wouldn't say that they're looking down. I think they are well aware of the fact that there are issues with access to technology in a variety of the parts of the state, and we're working to address those as best that we can. We always have a take students where they are kind of approach, and work with them to reach their fullest potential.
Jessica, Silicon Valley, we're not there, but we're not bad here in the Triangle, but it has a reputation of being elitist to the nerd side, quite frankly. How do you avoid that? Because there's so many more students who probably have a lot of potential than ones you're seeing that are already ready for the 21st century. So how do you balance the one who can learn but hasn't versus the ones that are just wonderkins in their field?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, and what we really iterate is that, or teach, is anybody can learn this. It's, the intimidation factor has got to be let down. We're all able to pick up software development. It's just a new thing. It's just approaching a new language. So if you want to learn, you can certainly learn. And there's many ways to do that online for free as well. So it is accessible to everybody.
Senator Smith, where does it go into the future in terms of higher education policy? Do students, should they be looking at humanities? I'm a humanities guy as a communication person, but I'm not ready to program computers. Do we need to focus our public dollars toward technical ed and computer science? Or
I still think there is a real need for humanities-based education. It is something that will carry you throughout life. We can't be just so focused in one area. And again, we don't know what's going to completely happen in the future. Learning a broad amount of knowledge is helpful throughout your life. I don't think that's something we don't need to just try to pin people in certain little career paths, because what if, like you've said before, what if that then goes away? I mean, what looks like is going to be the future right now in 15 years may not be the same thing. So for that reason, the humanities and a broad-based education is still very important.
And I completely agree with that. I have a humanities degree myself. I have a bachelor's of arts in religious studies and went into the tech sector right afterwards. And I think we see that a lot with the students that come through the Iron Yard as well. And it's that background that really provides you that good citizenship when you go into the workforce. So I think it's incredibly valuable.
A much broader range of learning in that way, and you're not just pinpointed into one area. So
I'd also add that I think it really helps you to make some different connections than you might make if you had just a pigeonholed, if you will, kind of training. When you have a humanities-based education, you're able to approach it from a very different perspective and potentially address different issues and problems that others might not be able to.
yeah, Jessica, how should the internship in the 21st century, how should it look to a college student? Because we have interns. Some of them won't leave the classroom and come and get their hands dirty on a camera. Not yet. They want to graduate first. Yeah. Is hands-on that important in college, or can you afford to get your degree and then focus on your career?
It's a great question, and one of the things we've been talking about today is project-based learning, and I think that has a big role to play in this, and that if you are a high school student or a college student looking for those opportunities that are going to give you that hands-on, real-world, project-based experience.
To the university system, Senator, is it ready right now for a rapid shift towards a world where humans have to outpace the automation and the robots that are nipping at our heels?
I think we have a wonderful university system here in North Carolina. I think what the legislature needs to do is to continue to support it in the same way that it was supported in the past. I've actually been concerned that we have made cuts that I think have hurt. And we need to not only to continue to support it, but to support it in ways that will help us go into the future.
Alexandra, parting comment, last question to you. What would you tell a student out there? For this show, you're probably talking to a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle. Given the crowd here, this is people already mid-career. What do you say to them to tell the young people, get ready?
Yeah, get ready as early as you can. And I think one of the things that's really important that we talk to a lot of different kinds of students and parents about who are interested in pursuing higher education is that you can do little bits and pieces. It doesn't have to be an overwhelming thing where, oh my goodness, all of a sudden my whole life is at stake. But explore what your interests are. Explore how your personality is suited for different kinds of environments. Shadow your parents, your grandparents, your cousins, your aunts and uncles when they're going to work. See what things are like. And those are some of the really basic things that you can do to assist yourself in career development and career maturity.
And Jessica, labor participation in North Carolina, if it's like America, is probably at some of the historic lowest. So people out there have quit looking for work. They're not counted as unemployed. They don't exist in the statistics. If they're sitting there thinking or seeing you talk about your organization, how do you know it's the right career move for you to go into computers or to go into a world where it's the highest of the high tech?
Yeah, I would always say start with a conversation. Talk to folks that are in the industry, do your research online, go to your public library and see what you can find out there. And what the opportunities that tech does provide for people is a certain flexibility and a place to innovate. So if the job's not, right out there, entrepreneurship's available, and there's many avenues to take and a lot of creative open space.
Jessica, thank you. Alexandra,
Thank you.
Senator Smith, thank you for being panelists.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for watching us here on North Carolina Channel. We are midway through the Emerging Issues Forum 2016. Futurework, very serious topic. Some of us in mid-career are facing the rise of the robots, and that's not just a slogan. It's a very serious matter because it could bring a boom to North Carolina, but it could affect thousands to millions of workers in the future. So if you're investing this afternoon with us, it will pay dividends as you'll understand a very complex issue and hear from some very influential people as they take the stage. But most importantly, from our perspective here at UNC-TV, is we're proud to be able to bring you this broadcast on our new North Carolina channel, a service of the UNC-TV network.